Jay. I have an Anchor podcast. I haven't pod it in a while, but it's called Talks with Jay. Um, and I also have a Etsy crafting store, Visuals by Jay, Bizuals by Jay, the letter J. And yeah, long time friend of Trench and Vibe, and got some things to say. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to having a really good, candid, free-flowing discussion. And I hope the listeners can pull some things from it and apply, food for thought to help them along their way.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. All right, Vibe, Vibe. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tell us about yourself, Vibe.
Greetings, all. I am Vibe. I'm a mother, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an artist. And if you see me anywhere, I was probably talking to somebody. Catch me on Instagram at vibe_depth, like the ocean. That's deep. And I'm really happy to be here to have this conversation. I always enjoy speaking to people who have intelligent things to say and wax philosophical with everybody who wants to come through. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up. So we decided to do this podcast last minute. For real. But I wanted to get the input of the Trauma Goddess Masterclass because I be talking about the lessons that be shared in it. And I don't go into great depth, but I definitely, like Vibe Depth said, I definitely touch those bases. And Jay and I have been having an ongoing discussion about the worth of the class. So I wanted to get both Jay and Vibe's opinion because they've gone through this course for a year, all 6 cycles. So tell me, goddesses, because that's how we refer to each other in this room, goddesses, tell me, how does the class work for you? What happened over these 6 cycles?
Jay, would you like to go first, or would you like me to jump in here? Because you know that I will.
Go ahead and jump in. That'll give me a chance to let this food heat up in the microwave. I don't want to
go. Real goddess shit, because we be eating snacks. Quit playing. I'm about to go get some ice cream. I don't care. I don't care. Real goddess shit, though.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The Goddess Trauma Masterclass has been amazing. Primarily because you don't know where your level of emotional intelligence is and where the relationship with yourself is until you build the skills to make those assessments, make those changes and edits. The major value has been in building that self relationship. You're always taught to be good to other people, to be kind, to be giving, to be there for others. But we really don't live in a culture that teaches you a healthy way to be there for yourself.
Facts.
To root for yourself, to build yourself up the way you would do somebody else. And a lot of problems can stem from that. When you really don't have your own back in situations. And codependency unto itself comes out of thinking you need other people emotionally, physically, financially, or otherwise to survive. So this class has helped me realize where I was not a whole person.
Ooh.
And it's given me the skills to be able to make those adjustments. And notice I said realize, because one of the things that the class really does is it instills confidence. Confidence in being you. I've been to regular therapy, not years and years and years, like you can go years and years and years, but I went to therapy regularly for a while, and it's good to get external validation.
Facts.
But it's to be built in a way that you keep coming back for that external validation. This class allows you to validate yourself without guilt and to make realistic assessments of the people and scenarios around you. not just based on what society deems as acceptable or unacceptable, but based on your own rules, standards, and guidelines that allow you to be yourself and feel comfortable being that person and have a relationship with yourself that supports it.
Oh, goddess. I had no idea you felt that way, vibe. I had no idea. Like, real shit.
I told
like,
you, if you call me to talk, I will be there speaking.
like, I appreciate it.
Articulately in that length.
I appreciate it. I truly do, because that's exactly what I'm here for. That's what I want the class to be about. That was the purpose of doing this course. That was the reason that's bringing this to the fruition. So thank you, goddess, because you're right. If you ain't got your back, who got your back? You still got your back. Like, at the end of the day, there are some days where you do just need that additional confidence in those tools. So thank you, because that's what I'm teaching. I want you to be whole. And honestly, it's recognizing not so much as you're not whole, but recognizing some of the incomplete stories you've told yourself.
And training.
Facts, the misinformation that you've given yourself. And unfortunately, that same misinformation that society is continuing to feed to you as if it's supposed to be yours. So, absolutely, goddess. Thank you for that. Because, I mean, you did it for a year, though. Like, my gosh, 6 cycles. So tell me, 6 cycles. In the first cycle, how'd you feel? How'd you feel at the end of the first cycle? Did you keep record like I had suggested?
Well, in a sense, I mean, I do journal often. So, like, one of the first things that came for me was the empowerment of it. Because, like I said, you were taught a story. You're taught a specific way that things are supposed to happen and how you're supposed to feel about them. And I think as adults, we all find ourselves going off those pre-designated rails. And when you find yourself in no woman's land, it's really hard to make an assessment to get back on track. And for me, one of the major things was like, I want to do, I want to be, I want to create, but I don't have the stability in myself of knowing what I want for myself to do that. So the very first cycle gave me, it was like mental waist speeds. I was able to decide where I start, where other people stop, what I need to do to make and maintain my wholeness, to really consider myself. Like, it gave me a new way of thinking about things, because a lot of times, and I'm going to say probably manipulative people and I'm not damaged, but maladjusted people want you to be a specific way so that they can come in and get what they need from you. And a lot of life is like that. In family spaces, in workplaces, in friendships. And if you're taught that giving is loving, then you're giving all the time.
All the time.
But this class gave me the ability to establish boundaries I could be proud of.
Thank you.
And that feel comfortable, even though, boundaries are never initially comfortable. Oh, and helped me resolve some things too. Because this amazing thing about boundaries, and yes, goddess commandments, the great thing about the goddess commandments are that when you find a spot in your life or your mind that is uncomfortable, your goddess commandments allow you to figure out how you want to deal with those particular situations without rumination. Because you've decided, and once you've decided, look, I'm going to do this way from now on, you just keep to it. You don't have to keep mulling it over for every situation. If you don't deal with dishonest people, then you limit your interaction with people that you deem to be dishonest. You don't have to tell them about it. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to do all of those various things when you have, as you would have to when you reinvent the wheel for every scenario.
Straight facts. Straight
So it
facts.
saves time. Lots of time. And with that hard drive space, you can do whatever you want with the rest of your life, because you're not worried about seeing your coworker at work tomorrow. She's going to talk to me forever. You've already made a commandment that you're not letting other people waste your time. You've deemed this a waste of time. What do we not do? We don't let people waste our time. So,
facts. We change our investments.
I got things that I have to do.
We straight change our investments. Absolutely. Absolutely.
30 seconds. I don't want to see your vacation pictures. I'm sure they're very nice. Don't have time right now.
At all. Bye, Cheryl. Yeah, I don't know how many I've left in the hallway for that one. Or wish I would have. You know what I mean? Like, and being able to explain, because a lot of the lessons that you're talking about are lessons that I actually lived through. And a lot of those things that I put into this course were things that I legitimately lived through as a working professional, as a woman, as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as a dating woman, as a divorcee. A lot of this shit I really lived through. And learning a lot of what I should have did, not based on because of some whimsical thought process, but really on the imaginary hold that I had on my mind.
Right. I was going to say that in this course, you find out that a lot of the cages you're coming up out of are the cages you put yourself into, not wanting to be rude and putting other people above you.
And it's not that at all, right? Not that at all.
You don't have to. Controlling your own time is not rude.
Straight facts.
Looking out for you is not rude. If you didn't have to bust an old lady in the head and take her wallet to pay your light bill, it's not rude not to loan money to such and such.
Facts. Just because they asked for it.
Right?
Facts.
Just because somebody gave you macaroni and cheese, you do not have to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't have to manage other people's entitlements.
I will say that one thing. Well, there's a few, touch points, but just off the top of my head, it's a safe space, and your realizations that you're going to come to about yourself, about those around you, about the society that we live in, and even broader to the world as a whole, and even possibly from a cosmic standpoint, if you allow your thought processes to go that far, you're going to come to some realizations, and it's going to help peel back some layers, and it's basically a reprogramming. And when Bob had mentioned hard drive space, it made me think of when you defragment a computer, and your unit's starting to run slow, it's starting to get sluggish, and what do? You defragment the hard drive space, and next thing you know, things start to run more efficiently, and you get rid of the clutter, or you reorganize it, you approach it in a different way, and then that allows you to run more efficiently because you're not dedicating so much RAM to something. You can switch it over to ROM, or and vice versa. Not to sound too much like a nerd, but there's more. Like I said, there's a lot of reprogramming, and another thing is the fact that it's put out there very early. Well, I'll say this. You have each cycle, each month. There's a form of release. And whether you engage in that release just strictly from a mental standpoint, or if you engage in activities exercises to include a physical standpoint of that release. There's that emphasis on recognition and then release. And there are 2 release cycles per month that go based off of the lunar cycle. And that's really important because I know, even if one doesn't really subscribe to that, the tide, the moon has a pull on everybody.
Facts.
Even if you have cats, dogs, pets, whatever, like,
it does whatever. You absolutely
can tell when the full moon starts. You can tell the energy is different. I know my dog and my cat, they just start flitting about and doing things. The lunar pull, it's a very real thing, and the energy that is emitted from everything. It has an impact, and if you're willing to tune in, you'll start to notice trends within yourself. You'll start to notice, hey, I need to get some dick. I'm starting to get snapping at everybody. Or,
or I need to start identifying why I don't want it.
Exactly. Or right, and then you start to identify your own ebb and flow, and why do you crave XYZ at this time? Is it because your body is preparing for menses? If you're a woman, is it because whatever? Like there's so much there's so much potential to tap into your own natural intuitiveness, and once you start to pull back those layers and really start to look at the reprogramming that needs to be done, because we're all societally conditioned to believe and behave and think in a certain way. Those in the lower classes are bred to be worker bees.
Yep.
That's what you hear when you go to your various religious services. That's what you see people struggling, and you hear the phrases, it is what it is, and this, that, and the third. Whereas those in the upper echelons, they ain't told that. That's not what they're bred to be. They're bred to be go-getters. They're bred to be, the knowledge and the belief behind the statements is completely different. And so when you start to realize those things, it's depending on what your individual struggles are, and what your own individual obstacles and hurdles are. Some things will hit a little bit harder than others.
Yep.
It's a no holds barred, kind of a course, in that we go deep in terms of the trauma that's addressed. And I know one month in particular that was deep for me was the sexual trauma month, for various reasons. And, but when you start to identify these things, it's like, wow. And you start to realize your mindset surrounding things and all of the factors that impact it. It can be overwhelming, but what's awesome is the fact that you get that support. It's a very intimate, small setting. Like I said, it's a safe space, and as with anything you get from it, you get out of it what you put into it. So, if you want to really dive deep, you can go there and be in your own Mariana's Trench, so to speak. But if you just want to float on the surface and just get a grasp as to how big the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans are, you can do that too. So regardless of where you are, you're going to gain some insight, and it's and what's really good is you have 1 month on, then 1 month off. So you learn the tools and then you apply the tools, and the classes build off of one another. So the concepts that are introduced in the previous cycle is going to, be built upon and reinforced. And, you have a checkup, like, okay, hey, I've been dealing with this for da-da-da-da-da. How did you move through it? How did you navigate through it? And I know for me, there are a couple of recurring themes that are larger than me, that are going to take some effort and, to navigate through. But my responses have been different.
Yep.
And noticing that growth within myself. And one thing, you're able to notice the growth within the other participants, and folks were and are, and you still remain very, very supportive of one another. You can tell, you hear somebody's voice like, something ain't right, or you can.
Facts. There's definitely a check-in, like, hey, you dropped off the meeting. What happened to you the other day? You it's good? Like, you all right?
Yeah,
what's up with
but
you?
You can see that growth and development, and there's no rush. You're not going to be told, oh, well, yeah, that happened to you 20 years ago. Why are you still tripping over it?
Absolutely not.
This is, that's another thing, is it helps, at least for me, it helped me realize that I can, in a sense. It's kind of hard to explain, because it, when I first heard it, I kind of bristled at it, like, man, whatever. But
right,
it's like, you got you where you are, and because you persevered through what you've done, you can continue and change that narrative. And Bob touched on this, finding that inner strength within yourself and that belief within yourself is very empowering. It's very important, and to have that reinforcement, throughout the course of a year, and like I said, learning how to replace your emotions, navigating through your emotions, and seeing, okay, this is what triggers you. This is, where. This is the area where you're negotiating within yourself how you want to react, and then here's your response. And switching out words, it really just helps you change the recipe, so to speak. You can still have your mac and cheese, but you don't got to put lard up in there or whatever.
Facts.
You know what I mean? It's just,
Facts. You ain't got to use a Velveeta. It's okay to be a little bit bougie. It's 2 for $6.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. You can change the ingredients
Facts.
and come out with a healthier meal.
Facts.
Or you might find out, you know what, I'm tired of getting shits after eating this. I know damn well I'm lactose intolerant, and I'm strong enough to now cut dairy out my diet.
Right.
There is life beyond dairy. I ain't talking about me now, because I'm still going.
Right. But, you heard me. I said ice cream. Bob, you was getting ready to say something. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it doesn't just change the ingredients. It lets you know what you're putting in there. Because when we talked about the words and actually getting beyond I'm mad, I'm sad, and all of the preschool forms of expressing yourself, it's so empowering to know I'm not sad, I felt belittled.
Facts.
Right. Completely different.
Completely different.
Happy, I'm feeling empowered. I'm feeling elated. I'm feeling creative. And when you have these adjectives to describe yourself, you know how to better interact with yourself.
Facts.
If you're feeling creative, maybe you should do a painting. If you're feeling belittled, maybe you shouldn't fuck with that person no more.
Right.
Or address the situation with them or with yourself.
That's true. Exactly. It allows you to better express yourself. Because how many people, now granted, and we're all women here, when we're asked what you want to eat, the true answer is I want 2 French fries from Wendy's. I want a small frosty. But then I want a fourth of a fillet of fish from McDonald's. I want, whatever, it's like 6 different things, but we don't.
Your half a hoagie.
Exactly, your half a hoagie. But we can't say all that, so we say I don't know.
Facts.
Right? And how many times when we're asked, well, what do you, those questions, what you want in a man? Or where do you see yourself in 5 years? People, they clam up because they don't know themselves, or not that they don't know themselves. They,
you saying it right. They don't know themselves.
No, they know themselves, but
they don't know themselves to trust themselves.
They're unaware. I'll say this, they're unaware of how to effectively express themselves and their desires.
I'll take it.
You see what I'm saying? There's a big difference, because everybody knows themselves. You know damn well you don't like this particular sexual position. You know damn well you eat that ice cream, you're gonna be on the toilet in 15 minutes. You know yourself. But
but you right.
Through saying, hey, you know what? I don't like it when you do that because this happened and I am working through that. And it makes me feel unsafe.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I want to say, I beg to differ about people automatically knowing themselves.
No, we're not saying automatically knowing themselves. We're saying those who have taken a journey to know themselves. But what we're talking about is this stage of the journey. We're not knocking the fact that there's a road to where there's a road before you get here. We ain't knocking that road.
That's what I was going to speak about, because I was going to say, when you have situations where your wants are limited by the people around you.
Facts. No, we ain't saying that.
How much of a burden your wants are, then you don't really get to know yourself until you're free enough to know yourself.
That's true, but at the end of the day, though, you still like what you like, whether you suppress that to appease others or to survive.
Facts.
Is a different thing. But you still like what you like. You see what I'm saying? You still feel the way you feel. Now, those feelings do evolve as you progress and are freed and, alter your perception of things. But like I said, at the end of the day, you're gonna get the shit to eat this ice cream. But if you in a Ike and Tina situation where my man's talking about you finna eat this cake anime, guess what? You're gonna eat the ice cream so you don't get punched in the face, and then you just gonna be on the toilet.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Without that black attitude.
You still, in a sense, know what but you can't express like a child, like a baby.
Absolutely.
Right? You can't, what does a baby do? I'm hungry, I cry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm uncomfortable, I cry. I just went in my diaper, I cry. I'm cold, I cry.
So you become paralyzed with the admission of just one emotion. So you're absolutely right.
Exactly. So it's kind of an evolving. You still have your wants and needs and likes and preferences, but like I said before, whether you express those or repress those to survive or appease, that's where the stifling and or empowerment comes into play, depending on the circumstance.
And sometimes it's a both, because I feel like the class, like you all are having a discussion, is a push and pull, right? It becomes a push and pull on both sides, on that acknowledgement side, on that spiritual side, and having these healthy discussions help you to get through those points is what I'd like to say it brings out, right? So to me, even teaching each cycle helped me to understand the evolution of the next one. So it's like, my goodness, thank you for coming back. But God damn it, every time I got to go through another, why I got to keep going through these trials? What the hell? So like on a month's off, life is like, hold up, bitch. You remember this happening to you? Remember this happened to you? Remember this happened? And who was there for you? So that's where I came up with the Goddess Commandments. And honestly, I do encourage everyone in the class to share it with their mate. Because again, it's also for the gods too in your life, for the men to understand your level of empowerment as well as their level of empowerment of themselves. Because the unfortunate part is we have a lot of discussion of how it's not always just a gender specific type of deal. This is a human experience. And sometimes this experience fucking sucks. And you need to be able to express how it sucks so you can get to the part of it not. And how do you see it's not when you're always around the people that suck? Like Vibe was saying, because Vibe again made a very good point. If you don't go down the road of actually learning what Jay said, what you like and don't like about yourself, whether you really do like vanilla ice cream versus chocolate, whether you willing to get punched in the face over apple pie versus vanilla custard. Like, real shit, there's a good reason why I don't eat cream-filled donuts anymore. I don't give a fuck. I will not eat a cream-filled donut no more. I don't know to tell you, I don't do it. Nope. Good reason. And those are trauma points.
Right.
that we have open lines of discussion on. But again, there are also very much barriers as well, right? We put up barriers and we say that this is something I don't want you to cross. But what do I do when a person crosses it? What do I do when people offer me cream-filled donuts?
Right.
What happens when I walk into a meeting and the cream-filled donut's the last fucking donut? Bitch is hungry to the motherfucker.
This is the whole thing about internal stability.
Facts.
Yeah.
It's like, are you strong enough to be here? Or are you strong enough to walk away? If somebody says something to you, are you going to burst into tears, or can you address it rationally?
And then are you strong enough within yourself to be accepting of your response or reaction in that moment?
Thank you.
Because you walk into the room, right? You walk into the meeting, and only donut left is cream filled. That could be a whole, well, damn it, if you weren't late, you would have been able to go to McDonald's. You would have had, you'd have walked up in here with a goddamn whole big breakfast with hotcakes and a coffee, and they sitting there with their continental breakfast and and it could, are you secure enough, and are you forgiving enough of yourself? Because
facts,
depending on whether you're on your A game or not, there are numerous things that trigger me. Depending on where I'm at emotionally, I might just have to have a solid conversation with myself. Sometimes I might have to tell myself out loud every few minutes, you're safe, you're good, it's okay, your response is, and it all depends. Sometimes I very well might shed a couple of tears, but I still have to show myself that grace and be like, you're human. This is still, you're still working through this. And because it was traumatic, having dealt with, everybody has trauma, you're not going to be able to flick it on and off. And I think that's where a lot of dependencies come into place.
Yep.
Whether you're chemical to turn those emotions off, whether it's add to cart, whether it's play the slots, whether it's suck that dick, whether it's take care of them kids, so you can take your mind off of you and you're pouring your all into everybody else.
But
there are so many different ways, and I think one good thing about the class is that it teaches you that you are strong enough within yourself and that you can show yourself grace, and it is okay to be human. Vacate the cape. You're not, some things you might eventually over time not be affected by, but don't expect and place that burden of expectation on you to be like, okay, you should be over this. No. You should be able to function.
They said vacate the cape.
Vacate the cape. I heard that on a call, and it's so true. I heard that on a call and I'm like, wow. And from what I know, it hasn't been copywritten yet. But
so we're gonna borrow it for this, absolutely. Because what do I always ask? What does Superwoman do on her day off?
Right.
That's what I open with, right? What does Superwoman do on her day off? Whatever the fuck she wants. Like, with Superwoman shit. Regular with shit. Right. So, but that's the thing, right? We want to make sure that we're not leaving the narrative of the superheroes always on duty. Go ahead, Bob.
I'm jumping in real quick because I wanted to say that one of the things that the class does for you, just to bounce off another thing that Jay has said, is that it puts you in a space where you're not divided against yourself.
Fact.
It's not the person that you are versus the person that you quote unquote should be. I want to eat this piece of cake, but I should.
Right.
I want to lay down, but I should. I'm like, because that should person will give you no peace.
None. None. In unison.
She always sitting right on your shoulder talking about what you could have did. Who you could have been with. You know who you should have married? You know what you should have done? You had 1,000 shoulds for your ass, and now you can't sleep.
At all. Killing every creative spark that you have moving forward. You was about to, and now you not.
Why should I do this when this is happening? Why should I do that when that is happening?
Because what else?
I care about.
Right. What would I say? Because what else the fuck you gonna do? Like, if you hold a space for that part.
And then that bitch will turn around and say, see, if you'd have got up off your ass, you would have been dead. It's like, hold on, bitch, you told me to sit down.
I'm like, but in an everyday standard, I'm like, how many times has somebody tried to beat you down emotionally and then ask why you ain't do shit?
Facts. So that's exactly what I'm here for it. Like, that's exactly why, because I've gone through them situations. People telling you that you're not that good because of all of the pieces of paper that you have, and then that you need to have additional pieces of paper in order to do these additional things. When, to be honest, a skill is a skill, a talent's a talent. Leave me be. I can't say that mine is any better than yours outside of the results, and the results are only deemed by the people who are judging them.
Hold on, let me say this. People are like, you're not good enough, you don't know enough, you're not right, you haven't been there, you don't understand, and I need you.
It's like, fuck you.
Facts. I'm with you, Jay. Fuck you need me for.
But I don't want you walking around with your chest poked out like that matters.
Right. Like, don't you dare have confidence within yourself, but I'm going to need you to be my Jitney. I'm going to need you to be my rock. I'm going to need you to be...
By the way, what you cooking for dinner, yo? By the way, did you cook today? Like, yo, are you fucking kidding me? You want me to do all of these things and then it won't ask me, can I nourish you? Didn't ask me if I can get a bottle of water off this bitch. As a matter of fact, why is all the bottles of water warm? You've been here all day.
Having boundaries helps you identify all those people who are basically coming up to you and going, me.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you? Nah. Me.
Man, I was just listening to that Maya song.
Dude, you go to walk away and they grab you by the shoulder and they be like, me though? Me?
Right.
Nope.
No, thank you. We are not doing the me experience for you. You done lost your fucking candy. We doing the I experience for me. Hey, you will have to kick rocks. I don't know, tell you, right? Because, I mean, you absolutely right. That's the purpose of the course. And thank you both, because that's what I really instilled that in there, and I be hoping that it lands. Because I'm like, if I write a book, not even if, I'm writing a book about some of the shit that happened in my life. And even as I write the story out from my perspective, I'm like, yo, this shit seems made the fuck up. Like, bitch, how'd you live through that? Like, what the fuck was you doing?
Maybe it's just because, I'm in your inner sphere or whatever, but, the random crap my husband goes through. He just saw an old man get hit by a car today.
Oh, my God.
My man was playing, though. You know how pedestrians sit there and they wait. Like, their light is green, right? But they wait until their light turn red.
Why?
And I think Wilbur thought that he was going to make it, and the car was like,
no.
I hope he's okay. I really do. But it's just like, but the stuff, so it ain't made up. And to be honest, there's a whole bunch of motherfuckers whose last name is Murphy unofficially.
Facts. Straight facts. That's why I'm everybody's favorite cousin, yo. I swear to goodness, yo. Everybody's favorite cousin with that unofficial Murphy. I kid you, yo.
Yeah,
man.
But it's because amazing though when you take an inventory on the things that you've been through. It's amazing. It really is, and I don't want people thinking that you gotta have lived a life akin to I don't know, a Tyler Perry movie or whatever. No. We all go through things that we all have our dark spots. We all have our trauma. We all, go through. We all go through different things, and so and like I said, when you sit back and take that inventory and you're like, wow, I survived that.
Straight
you know,
facts.
whether you had support around you or not, because here's the thing, you can feel alone in a sea full of faces.
Yes.
Like, you know, and that was from What Dreams May Come, one of my favorite movies, you know, but that encapsulates depression
Absolutely.
to a T, because
Absolutely.
somebody can walk into a room with 150 people and they feel like they are by themselves.
Absolutely. And they
you
could
know,
be the
I
star of
think
the show and they feel by themselves.
And they still feel isolated, you know?
Absolutely
and
right.
It's like, at the end of the day, whether you have that support system around you or not, you are still putting one step in front of the other. Other people cannot walk your path.
Nope.
You know, so you still had to, whether you overcame addiction on your own or whether you had a 12-step program and a sponsor, at the end of the day, the sponsor didn't put the vice down. You put the vice down. You changed your mindset. You accepted and empowered yourself. And so that's one of the things that, you know, that's the key takeaway, you know, for me. Regardless of where you came from and regardless of what your trials were, you know, you don't want to compare yourself to others. You know, don't fall into that trap, you know, but you persevered through your trials and you found strength within yourself in those moments. Even if they were fleeting, you know, it was enough to get you out.
Facts.
And
you survived, you. Know,
Exactly.
Whoo! If I was the worst thing, what'd I say? I got died in my tits in like 10 nines. What the fuck you want? Bring it. Because I ain't got time.
Right. I would say, too, in a sea of faces, you really are alone. Because, you know, coin me when I say this, that everybody wants to be seen. If the people you are around can't actually see you, then you practically are alone. But at the same time, that is the skill that is most faked.
Facts.
The ability to see other people. These
Facts.
NPCs, these non-player characters can't see you. They can't. And just to test that, say something that's completely out of character for you. And watch an NPC not even blink. You're like, these pork chops are really good today. And they go, yes, I've always liked pork chops.
Right.
Or they'll be like, hey, I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the knee. It's like, wait, did you just not see me a dragon out the sky, and you talk about getting your knee shot? Oh,
right.
Okay. All right, my guy.
I got nothing here. I got nothing
here. How's your day going? These arrows are 5 coins.
Right.
It's just like,
what?
Okay.
Wait, how did Toad do it? Pick a treasure chest and continue on your journey.
Straight facts. After they took 10 of your coins off top, and the possibility of you winning all 10 of your coins back or double is your ability to remember where the boxes landed in every game. Because the unfortunate part about those games is the boxes never changed.
They never did. And why we gotta keep wrestling the same bitch over and over again? Apparently, she like hanging out with Koopa now.
Listen, this bitch never put up a fight.
Huh? Like 15 years of rescuing this bitch from the castle.
No,
hold on, wait. And
bitch never put up a fight.
Wait, you go through all this side scrolling. You or die, no save, okay, you fall down, you fall into the hole, you miss the pipe, you're dead.
Man.
And then you get to the end, and it's like, oh, wait, she's in another castle. I'm like, you know what?
Fuck this bitch. I'll come back in 2 weeks.
Right, you know what black folk like, I'm going to ride around this airport twice.
Facts.
If you ain't at the baggage claim.
I'm going to tell you. You left.
Let's bring it back to real life.
All right, Bob. Let's bring it back to real life.
Because check it out. Who hasn't had that professional victim friend?
Oh my gosh.
She needs you to pick her up out in ass bumblefuck because she done got in the car with a stranger. She didn't really know him, but he was cute, and she needs to get a ride back. You're a professional victim friend. I didn't know I was going to need to buy food with this money. I'm like, if you want to save a princess, that is available in this reality.
Yo, facts. And we've all ditched one of them or 5. in this lifetime. That's why I said, listen, when I finish telling the stories of all of the shit that occurred in my life over this 10-year lesson, people won't be like, you made that shit up. No, the fuck I didn't. I promise you I ain't make saving these hoes up. I promise I did. And again, you're right. It was in this reality that I had to save a few hoes to figure out that I was losing me in the process. I was the sucker getting licked like a motherfucker in the process of this. I'm out here, like you said, being Mario and Luigi, and then new character Yoshi shows up. And now, now we got Princess Daisy. Who the fuck had Cousin Daisy come out this woodwork? And then you get additional multi-level angry characters, Waluigi, and I'm like, for real? Wario? What the fuck?
Wario, yeah.
Like, all right now, y'all doing too much. Oh, we're going to bring in the other characters just on GP. We're going to have Donkey Kong come in. We're going to have a Koopa. And everybody loves Toad. And it's like, no, nobody loves Toad. That nigga always shows up.
Hold on. And then we're going to put y'all all in a race, right? And then they're going to blue shell you.
Boom.
But like, wait a minute, this franchise is named after me.
Right.
How dare you blue shell me?
Right. So I appreciate having a class because like Bob said, that shit really does happen. And it happens to the degree of I've been working for a company for X amount of years. I know I'm overqualified to take on the supervisor position. I done watched 6 of them bitches go. And you gonna tell me because
not only have you watched them go, you trained them.
Thank you. And then you gonna tell me because I didn't submit a yada 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 during my moment of distress that I didn't get the position. Oh, you know what?
Or you know what? You remember that time when
I'll
you
eat
was running
that.
late and got hold on. You was running late and got written up like, you know, my world was falling apart. You're lucky my ass got here.
But you can talk to me about anything, right? So here goes, and that's Vib's point, right? But you can talk to me about anything. And it's like, yo, I'm talking to you about this. And they're like, yeah, so you're a victim in your own life. And you're like, what? Who are you talking to? Not realizing that you did just make yourself a victim, right? You made yourself explain a situation that you ain't have to, they ain't give a fuck about.
That's true.
You just gave up one of your boundaries. You done gave them your intimate world, and they're like, yeah, and by the way, you can clear out your desk. It's 3:30. We'll go ahead and pay you the extra 30 minutes. Really, bitch?
That's the thing. If you live your life as an interchangeable person, you might as well be an NPC because it don't matter what you say.
Facts.
That's what you doing. They're like me.
Right. You heard me.
Or they're just on this scheduled walk path.
Right.
That's what it's going to be walking. They're going to say the same thing as they walk past XYZ building. That's what they've been programmed to do.
I worked this one place for a couple years, and I'm not going to name the name of the place, but I am literally going to tell you that there was at least 3 people there that talked to me in depth about the weather every single day. It's really sunny out there. It's warm.
I believe you.
You know what, though? Wait, but you sure that wasn't you sure that isn't a product of the locale? Because folks that aren't from the area that we all, grew up in, they be like, why y'all be talking about the weather? Why? Because there ain't shit else to talk about.
Well, see, that's the programming though, right? And let's be honest, it's the programming of just our locale, like you said, because our weather changes so frequently that they've literally created like flat out jokes about it, number one. Number two, there's a whole ass statistic about us getting the least amount of sun of all 50 fucking states and cities.
Yeah.
The other half of that is there's a fucking paint you can buy at Home Depot that's named after the color of our no sun ass sky. So you're right. The only thing we talk about is the weather, because the only thing we're taught to hope for is that better days are going to come, right? In this moment of we're fucking you, just remember better days are going to come. And it's like, yo, in which point am I going to wake up and realize that I'm in Pulp Fiction? Okay. Y'all niggas done broke back mountain me. What the hell?
Money, mo. Like, you know what? I'm gonna call my homeboys up with a blowtorch and a screwdriver.
Right.
I'm gonna get ready for your ass.
Right. Like, what the fuck? Ain't nobody, like, bruh. If you gonna convince me that, oh, I should be looking forward to sunnier days, you're absolutely right. Having those conversations about the weather really is a way to get an energetic exchange. And sometimes we get the people who just roll up on us and be like, my life is fucking hell. And it's like, bitch, don't you see me in the middle of talking about how mine is on the phone? I'm at the bus stop, minding my goddamn business. But as we reflect on these things, we're not reflecting on the fact that that person walked up to us. We were able to counsel them through a situation we had no fucking heads or tails of. They know them from a can of paint. And here we are milling over a situation that we know intimately.
Truth.
And we got heads and tails on that bitch. We got the whole fucking coin. And we out here flipping that bitch around like it gotta be seen. We can literally spin that bitch. It's done here.
Sliding back to the class. One of the things I learned is that you only need to see as much as you need to see.
Oh, you're low now.
Yeah, you're muffled, fam.
I got you. Hold on.
All right, here we go.
Y'all got me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This got behind me. I got the headphones plugged in.
Understood.
I said, sliding back to the class. One of the things that I learned is you only need to see as much as you need to see.
Facts.
No need to watch the movie to the end. No need to read the last 300 pages of a book you don't like.
Facts.
At any point, decide you're not going to do it anymore. Because if you're in a very cloudy place where they get no sun, if you're hoping for sunny days, you're hoping in vain unless you change your situation.
That's true.
So start planning your vacation.
The other side of that weather conversation is, if you ain't really got shit to say to me, don't say nothing. Just smile and keep going. Or do that weird cheek thing where you don't smile, but you just stretch your lips across your
It's called a wince. It's called a wince. And nah, you ain't allowed to do that no more. Because that's not how shit happens in the NPC world. You can't do it.
It's called a wake?
A wince. Wince.
WINCE. Wince. Wince.
That's what
not quite a full on grimace, but
yes,
a
wince.
Oh, that's I'm happy that's dead. I'd shoot it myself. If that facial expression was a person, I'd stab it to death in the streets in front of a bunch of other people cheering. Oh my gosh.
Listen, Vibe, I told you I'm a whole ass know-it-all. I just be knowing shit, okay? Just be knowing shit.
I hate that look. That look makes me feel like I don't want to give you enough energy to smile, but I also don't want you to kill me if something pops off.
But that's exactly what it's for. That's why it's called a wince.
Horrifying.
But that's exactly what it's for, and that's why it's called a wince. And that's why I bring the emphasis of having your operating system in play. Because like you said, that's an uncomfortable ass feeling when you receive that. But your reaction is what makes the situation worse or better for yourself, and had been this whole time.
It's the lowered expectations of smile.
Facts.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's like it's the starting ground, right? So it's like, okay, hey, wince. But if it's something sarcastic, then it turns into a smirk.
Yep.
If it's,
and then it goes into a full on.
there'll be a grimace. Or if you want to smile, you can smile. So it's like it's like the Three Musketeers.
Yep.
Okay. It's just your nougat and your chocolate. Now, if you add peanuts to it,
we got a Snickers and a little bit of
caramel.
caramel.
Peanuts and caramel, right? You know what I mean? Now, if you take out the nougat, you add a little bit of coconut, you got a friggin' almond, you got a mound. If you add almonds to that, then you got an almond joy. Like I said, it's the Three Musketeers of emotional expression. It's the baseline.
Straight facts.
Your nougat and your chocolate.
If it were French toast, it'd just be bread and milk.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, all right. So heads up, we got like 5 minutes left in this podcast segment.
Time check. Yeah.
So we got 5 minutes left. It just gave me a warning. Actually, 4 minutes and like 10 seconds left. So I want to wrap up to where we can plug. I want everybody to shout out where they at. And thank you, goddesses, so much for joining me for this conversation. And we definitely gonna have to keep this going on. I think we're gonna keep What About It Wednesday. I don't know what time we're gonna be able to do it, but we're gonna have to keep a What About It Wednesday going and invite other goddesses. But all right, so Vod, go ahead and shout out where you at, and then Jay, you can shout out where you at.
Okay. I'm Vibe Depth, Vibe_Depth, DEPTH. I'm on Instagram. I'm Vibe_Depth on Facebook. I also have an Etsy store under the same name. Yeah. So I'm doing all of those things.
Thank you, Vibe. All right, Jay.
All right, I'm inconsistent as fuck when it comes to social, right? So, by J, BIZUALS, by, and then the letter J. That is my Etsy shop. You have Janae, the Gamer Diva, on Facebook. I'll be real sporadic. I don't be posting all like that.
Hey.
TikTok is Visuals by J. And I think I have a YouTube. I got a couple of them. But yeah, Etsy, TikTok, Janae the Gamer Diva. That's me. Then also Talks with Jay podcast here on Anchor.
Oh, thank you so much, goddesses. And y'all can catch me at Trish_Dean on IG. You can also catch me at Chez du Jour on Etsy.com and the CWC Education Station. And as usual, right here on my spiritual walk, minding my motherfucking business on my goddamn journey, the Spiritual Basics podcast, because this is where we be at. This is where you get to be yourself, a completely healed environment, an environment for us to have open lines of discussion and be able to really get to the bottom of these situations, right? What we call them, non-player characters, NPCs and shit. I enjoy it. Yep. So thank you so much.
The NPCs.
Straight facts. So thank you so much, goddesses, for joining me on Anchor. Thank you so much for everybody on the CWC Education Station. I mean, we'll have to keep sliding through and catch us. All right, we out.
All right, fun and done.
All right, everybody, take care.
All right, so I just